oh my God, so unreal and beautiful at the same time. But it's just like, oh, okay, what's next now?
Hey everyone, welcome to the channel. I'm Belgian Jasper. If this is your first time on the channel, hit subscribe right now. One of the rising stars in symphonic metal is without a doubt AD INFINITUM. The band, centered around the charismatic Melissa Bonny, is releasing their second album already under the pandemic, so I had to sit down with Melissa to learn all about it. Thank you so much for your time today. You've been busy. This has been, quite the, year, let's say year and a half for you. Many bands that released an album in 2020, even earlier than you guys did with Chapter 1, did everything they could to keep that album alive so they can now start touring and promoting that album. You guys took a slightly different approach because all of a sudden, not only did we have two versions of your first album, now we have the second album coming. Just too much creativity going on. Why did you make the decision to already come up with a new album right now?
Usually you wait so long because you have other obligations like touring or festivals, etc. Now we had so much time in our hands, and without knowing when we'll be able to go out there, we didn't want to just sit and wait until everyone forgets about the album. So we thought, let's do a second one.
I don't think people will easily forget you guys got a great responses on your first album, and then now you're in this weird situation that, we're recording this mid-September. About a month ago, you played your first ever real life show at the Rock Castle Festival. Shortly after, you have your first headline show as well at the Fark Fest. That's obviously not normal for newer projects. What has been weirder for you, this pandemic time where you're getting all this great feedback and you see hundreds of thousands and millions of views and streams, or now actually realizing that this is reality and that you now have to go out and that audience really exists? They're not just numbers on a computer screen.
I think all of it is weird because, first you have to adapt to a completely different situation that no one has seen before. And then when you're used to it, you have to readapt to normal-ish. So everything has been so strange. Like, for example, like you mentioned, you release music, you don't tour, but you see millions of clicks and people sharing and being super hyped about what you're doing. And you're like, is that real? Because, it happens online. So you don't really feel it the way you feel it when you go to a concert, like when you play a concert and you see the direct response. So you're like, okay, that's cool, but is that real? And and then 1.5 years later, you play the first show and you see people actually singing your song in front, like when you're on stage, and it's like, oh my God, so unreal and beautiful at the same time. But it's just like, oh, okay, what's next now? We didn't know what to expect. We're going there with, a little bit of butterflies in the stomach, good and bad, like super happy to play, but not knowing what's going to happen and not knowing how the response would be. And arriving there in front of thousands of people and be like, wow, this is our first show, everything is fine, please, no technical problem or anything. And then you start to play and you see people in the front row singing with you and you're like, oh my God, is this real? So it's surprising and it's very encouraging, and it makes you want to just keep going and doing more.
Yeah. So you make a good point. When you play live shows, even shows that have a ton of production and, where everything is planned to the second, you have to let go of control, and things will go wrong. You know, so not everything will sound perfect the way that you have it before, at least not in the way that you have a virtual world before. You've told me before that Ad Infinitum is 100% Melissa, and you've got a group around you of people that know what you want. Is that hard, letting go a little bit of that 100%, you know, control with live shows?
Actually, the thing is, already with the second album, I let go of it, of the 100% Melissa, because now I have 3 very talented musicians with me and also writing music with me. It's not anymore just my ideas going to the producer. It's 4 people writing music together without a producer and then going to the studio. And already there, you know, at the beginning, I was like, oh my God, do I have to like recalibrate things? And then I just, when you hear the final product, like when you trust your bandmates and you hear the final product, you're like, no, this is Ad Infinitum right now. I've been told so many times, you know, an album is like a picture of, like, in time. It's just that a picture of the moment, and before is different, after is different. And live, it's the same. You have to let go. And, you know, before the show, I was like, oh, I hope everything is perfect. And everything was perfect with imperfections, because we all had our little moments of fuck ups, and it's just okay, because the audience enjoyed the live situation. They don't want to listen to the album. They want to see a show.
Yeah. Now, you guys gave your audience or your fans a taste about a year ago with the live stream show that you guys did. How long did it take for the boys in the band to tell you after that live stream that, you know, those oversized plague masks are just too hard? We're gonna make them a little smaller for new shows?
Okay, first of all, it was not my decision to make them like this. This is something that was in the hands of the guy who crafted them. He just designed and everything, and then the guys said, okay, I didn't say anything. I said, this is your mask, you decide. So this time it was not about them saying, oh no, it's too complicated. We talked to a different designer who's a friend of Corby, our bass player. And her and her colleague just had some ideas, and I think it was Nick at first who said, yeah, maybe it's easier for me if the nose is not as long, so I don't hit with the drumsticks, you know. But yeah, I think it was we just designed it together, and it ended up like this.
Yeah. One final question about the shows that you guys have played before we delve into the new album. Another thing you told me last time is that with previous tours, you almost broke your back, you know, carrying heavy equipment, trying to show that, you know, the girls can do as much work as the boys. I hope you had no injuries this time with the shows you've played so far.
No, I've been very lucky. We had a fantastic crew, and the guys just told me, take it easy.
The first album was a concept album about the rise and fall of Louis XIV, the King of France. How does the story continue? What do people need to know that haven't listened to the first album yet?
You don't need to listen to the first album to enjoy the second one. It's not the same inspiration, and it follows the same kind of writing process. Like, it's not a history lesson. I don't enjoy telling people that in this year this happened, and then this person died, and then the end. You know, it's more like this time we discussed, when we started writing the album, we were like, okay, should we also find a character of inspiration? It's not, oh, we're gonna write about his life or her life. Yeah. It's like a character of inspiration where we try to understand how it was like for the entire environment of that person to evolve and live. And we had very fast, I think, the idea of learning and talking about the life of Vlad the Impaler, Vlad Tepes, or, as you know as well, probably Dracula. Because this character is so fascinating, because for some people he's a hero, you know. Mm-hmm. For some people he's the Vlad the Impaler, the horrible person, tyrant, and the murderer. And then after his death, he became the father of all vampires and gave birth to so many stories, movies, series, and you name it. So we thought it was so interesting to talk about all these aspects. Like, first of all, the human person, you know, the person who went through some terrible things in his childhood and then came back to his lands and has been betrayed, etc. The human side, and then the horrible person that you see when you're on the other side of history, and then of course some vampire touches, like not the vampire, the romantic version, or the, you know, scary with teeth, but more like the animal instinct.
Nice guys usually don't have nicknames. The Impaler. Yeah. So it will be an interesting journey. This is a very different story than on the first album. You know, obviously two rulers, two people that, depending on who you ask, were either, you know, strong, great rulers or incredible tyrants. So there's a connection there, but nevertheless, a very different people. Will that difference also translate into different styles, different sounds? What should we expect from a music perspective of the new album?
This time the whole band was writing together, and you can hear more, I think you can hear a younger, more modern sound throughout the album. And I think, you know, at first we were unsure, because we thought first album we've been influenced by a producer who was kind of, you know, having the overview of everything and telling us, okay, this is a little bit too much, this is good, and this time we just trusted our guts, and it turned out to be even more ad infinitum than the first version of ad infinitum, if I may say. So I really think that the sound is representing better the four people writing the songs.
Okay. Does that also is that also a valid comment for your singing? Because you are a very versatile singer. We've heard you do some very different things over the years. You've explored some of those areas in the previous album, but maybe not as extreme as I know that you can. Should we expect then also a little bit more variety in the singing style in the new album?
Yeah, exactly. I've enjoyed trying new things, going further, trying more dangerous things as well, which sometimes I regretted in the studio. But in the end, it worked well. I still have to adapt a little bit for live situations where I started to rehearse a lot. But I think this is the album where I've challenged myself the most, and I'm very happy of the result. It was such a great experience to be in the studio with, you know, complete freedom. At first I was a little bit scared, because I thought, okay, now I have the entire responsibility of doing the whole, not only lead vocals, but also all the harmonies and all the, you know, the icing on the cake. And then when I started, it just became so enjoyable, like adding some sweet touches here and there that I usually, for example, only hear in other genres. There's some things that I really enjoy in I don't know, a singer like Mariah Carey, or, you know, the singer who really know how to master the voice and who go literally everywhere. And I just enjoyed putting some touches of this, and also some more growls and something. I think in every types of voice we've pushed everything one step further, whether it's growls or clean vocals or very crazy ad-libs, or yeah. I don't want to spoil, but I'm a little bit too passionate now.
The world obviously went through a horrible 18 months, and without making it sound too selfish or what have you, you had a phenomenal 18 months when you think about, you know how your career-wise, at least, let's say. How has that been for you and the band, going through such a crazy period, having great success, seeing all those numbers add up on the stream platforms and YouTube and whatsoever, but also seeing so many people having such a challenging time. Was it a challenging time for you as well? Are you happy that people are more open about all these issues that they're facing?
It's been a roller coaster of emotions, I would say. It's not, you see on the outside, oh, it's been amazing, and you only want to talk about the fact that it's amazing and that there's a lot of people who love your music. But behind the scenes, behind everything that we share, there's a lot of first of all, of fears when all this started, and when you see bands stopping or people being open about mental health issues and everything, it's scary because you don't know what's going to happen for your band, for your friends, for the people surrounding you, for yourself, and definitely it's been like, you discover that there's some virus going on, and you're like, okay, it's far away apparently, poor people, and then it comes here and you're like, holy shit, how long is it gonna last? And you go from, we have an album that we cannot promote it, then we adapt, we come up with solutions, and it's great, and then but in the end it's not gonna last 1 year but 2 years, so it goes down again, and you have to just constantly adapt to it. And it's definitely not only been joyful for the past 18 months. It's been a lot of questioning, okay, what do we do and how do we keep it going and make it possible for everyone in the band. And you have to be tough. And I'm not saying I've not been crying every, I don't know how many days, because it was so like uncertain and also difficult to keep everything going. When you start, you don't have an entire team around you to think about all this and to do it. It's been us doing all the emails. It's been us doing all the preparation, the promotion, the planning live streams, planning videos, planning a new album, studio, this and that. It's been on 4 people. Of course, we've had a team around us, but it's you who have to make it happen.
Tonight I watch the stars.
First of all, thank you also for sharing all of that, because you're absolutely right. People tend to look at only see the outside and see all the success, and it's great. I think it's great to hear for the fans as well that what they're going through, everybody's going through, and the bands as well. And it will be such a bigger celebration when you get to play more and more live. And I know they've got lots of stuff planned, not just a release show coming up for the new album, but also you have plans in 2022 already. What can you share? What should the fans know?
We're planning a European tour. We just don't know how it's going to happen and when. And we just hope for the best and that it will happen as soon as possible, because we're super impatient to meet everyone.
Awesome. Well, I know the fans are also very impatient to see you guys play. Melissa, thank you so much for your time today, and I wish you all the success with the launch of the new album.
Thank you so much to you too, and thank you for inviting me.
You are awesome for watching this video. Click right here to see more content like it and subscribe to the channel.